All right, welcome everybody, right, to today's edition of the Master Implementers interview series, right? So today we have Mr. Joshua Ong, right? I think sharing a little bit about some exciting topics that even I want to learn about, right? I think we're just having a chat right before this about how you can grow your movement, grow your business, grow your income, right, in a sustainable and simple to implement ways. So hi, Joshua. So thanks so much for coming on, right? So before we begin, I'd like to just share a little bit about yourself, your story. How do you get to where you are today? I think you're someone who's been crushing it in the social media game in terms of income. So I would love for more people to find out about what you do and how you can add value, man.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Yeah. Once again, Mark, appreciate you for having me on. So, I used to work as a registered nurse in Singapore, and so worked about 3 years. So I'm actually from Malaysia. So I finished my diploma, came here for 3 years to study, and then worked another 3 years, finished up my bond, and just finally decided to take a leap and then focus online full time. So so I've been mainly doing affiliate marketing. So been dabbling a bit, for the past 3 years.
Yep.
And then only about 1 year plus ago, I decided to go all in and focus on all this, right? I mean, I guess many of you watching this right now, you might be starting your own business, you're doing different things, and probably you might be stuck with the shiny object syndrome, which we'll definitely talk a bit more after within this call. But yeah, man. So I was deciding between like e-commerce, drop shipping, doing my own agency, and then affiliate marketing. So that's where I tried different things, and I decided to fall back to affiliate marketing. Went all in after 9 months. After 9 months of going all in, I finally quit my full-time job last year in September.
Congratulations, man. Wow.
Yeah. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, so I think with that story, it's it's super inspiring, man. Like, so I guess the first question I'd like to ask you, when you decided to move, to quit full time, right, to quit your full time job to move it, right? It's like and it's great that you have been building a side hustle, you're building a side income for a long period of time. But what was the reason, or what was the time you made the decision? Say, okay, I think it's time to quit, right? Was it difficult? What are some of the challenges you faced, right? You want to share a little bit about the entire transition from like being a full time nurse all the way to doing whatever you are right now?
Yeah, that's a great question, bro. Because before even I took the leap, I also asked many of my mentors for the advice on what I should do, and when's the best time to actually quit, man. So of course, the first question that I asked myself and I asked my mentors would be, when is the best time to quit, right? So and if you guys are at that phase as well, or if you are approaching that, then definitely you're asking yourself this question as well. So what my mentor said, it would be, once whatever you're doing right now, if you're able to confidently still reproduce your results, and you've already built your own sort of following, then that's where you're considered kind of safe to actually make the jump, right? Because you're not just going to start from ground zero, right? There are many people out there, they just say, like, do a drop out, quit everything else, quit your job, and then focus on your side hustle, right? Of course, that is not ideal, because the problem with that would be, if you don't have a sustainable income source coming in, then you're going to be really stressed up in what you do. And of course, if you're in sales, you're in marketing, the side effect about that is that you become salesy and pushy, right? Because you don't have an income stream coming in. But if you are confident enough that you can bring this stream of income in, then naturally you're just coming from a place of service, and then you're not really pushing for the sale anymore, right? So that's the first thing, right? So building up your audience, right now is the online world. By the way, are you on Clubhouse, Mark? Like, so much craze on Clubhouse, man.
Yeah, I'm on Clubhouse, man. But so there's a lot of listening and audio involved. So I'm doing things. So I can't really listen to it. But I know that a lot of people are getting into it. I know some guys go in there in the few days, they get 100,000 followers, man. But yeah, are you on it right now? So
I'm on it as well. Yeah,
but I haven't really done anything to about it.
That was crazy, bro. Like, Elon Musk was just on it like 2 days ago, and the entire thing blew up. Like, even the stock went up like crazy. But yeah, so yeah, man. So I hope I answered that first question of when is the like, quote unquote, best time to quit. And one of the few challenges that I face would be, of course, right, like, because I've been working for the past 3 years, and of course that thought about losing that sustainable stream of income, right? And I think that's huge as well. But the truth is, you got to understand that, I think COVID proved that, even a job itself, it's not something that's safe, right? I just made a post about this, where people think that making money online is a scam, right? A lot of people think, even though many people have proven it, but if you probably just started, you just research, probably you would think that it could be a scam. But in actual fact, the biggest scam is working a full-time job, right? Sorry for the polarity over there, but the truth is, COVID proved it, right? Like, nothing is foolproof, right? Of course, unless you're in the healthcare industry like me, right? And you might think that, I might be crazy because I'm working as a nurse, considered super stable, especially with COVID right now. and all the health things, and I decided to quit, right? So yeah, so it's ultimately, and one of the things was that I watched the video, and the thing is, you only can go so far when you focus on one thing, right? And I want to make this book recommendation. I actually just completed it as well. Mark, probably you
Sure.
read it. One Thing by Gary Keller.
Ah, yeah. That
Yeah,
is one of
super good book, man. Super good book. But essentially is, in order to achieve extraordinary results, you must put in extraordinary amount of effort, right? The work-life balance is just BS. Of course, something needs to take a hit, while you're going all in on something. But of course, it first has to start with, what is your purpose, what is your priority, and based on that, then you can decide which thing at this point of time should take more focus on that, right? So of course, when I first working, and that was my core priority. But then when I decided to, like, hey, I've only like about 6 months left till my bond ended. I'm like, crap, I need to do something, right? Because my goal was that to by 3 years before my bond finishes, I must be able to quit, right? Like right after my bond finishes, I can resign. And like it was just like 6 months left. My bond finished in June, right? 6 months left. I nothing built sustainable yet. So that's why I decided, like, now's the time. Like you gotta hit, I gotta hit hard, right? And then, yeah, that's why I dived into affiliate marketing. And then like 9 months after, in September, then I just threw my letter.
Yeah, wow. I think what a story, man. Like you decided to go all and you guys prioritize and go focus, right? And I love, so I think what happens is, because a lot of people always talk about burning the boats, right? But I think yes, right, in some areas it might be useful, but I think for most people, right, burning the boats might not be the most optimal decision. You have commitments to pay, right? You have things to have to settle, right? And so if you just burn the boats, right, there's gonna be unintended consequences that might not paint the best picture. So I love what you did about, okay, build a movement, build some income first, generating before you decide to quit, right? So that even when you quit, you're not desperate for the sale. Not you can go be pushy, you can do things that you don't really like, and then the whole cycle can repeat itself. So I love what you shared about that. So with that, right, I think you talked about affiliate marketing, you enter into. You want to share a little bit about affiliate marketing, your experience in it, right? And I guess, right, if somebody wanted to enter this world of affiliate marketing, right, what was one or two of your biggest tips would be, right, if they wanted to enter this space?
Yeah, 100%, bro. Like, and that's definitely a great question, because what I believe, and dude, you crushed it with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi as well, right? Like you made 50K. That's huge. And what I believe is that, for if you want to make money online, and of course there are many different models, right? I'm not saying that, whichever model is the quote unquote best. But my personal belief is that, the best way for you to grow any business, especially if you're not the six-figure mark yet, would 100% be affiliate marketing. Why? Because the key fundamentals of any business is sales and marketing, right? Of course, once you scale, your systems and processes. But of course, when you're first starting out, it's sales and marketing. And let's say if you run your own program, not saying that it's not good, but the one of the key problems is that you need to deal with fulfillment, right? And Mark, you're definitely having your own program as well. No problem with that completely. But the only thing would be, you gotta either you outsource your sales and marketing, or you juggle both plus the fulfillment, right? Like you mentioned that you have one entire day to do all your fulfillment as well. So, and what I like about affiliate marketing is that you don't need to worry about the fulfillment. You just focus on marketing and sales, right? Which ultimately, these skills, you can transfer it to selling your own stuff, right? So and one of my mentors changed my perspective, right? He always say you must always think like a strategic long-term entrepreneur. And what that means essentially is, you got to ask yourself, how can you build assets? How can you put systems and processes in place? How can you do things that essentially will set you up for success, right? So, and what that means is by building up, either building up your skill sets or building up your assets, right? So your assets could be your email list, your assets could be your following, your YouTube subscribers, depending on which platform you are, your TikTok subscribers, your Facebook group, I know you use Telegram group as well, right? So your Telegram group, and then your skill sets. So for a six-figure business, sales and marketing is the most important skills that I must say. And so that's why I love affiliate marketing so much. And there are many different ways to do affiliate marketing, but what I would suggest would be to start with free traffic, right? Quote unquote free traffic, meaning using Facebook, right? Some people are doing TikTok, some people are doing YouTube, some people are doing Facebook, and some people are doing blogging as well, right? But what I would suggest, the best way to get started is by just using Facebook marketing, right? Facebook organic. And what that means is by going to targeted Facebook groups and finding out your ideal audience, right? So I had the opportunity to interview Russell Brunson on his book launch, Traffic Secrets.
Yes.
And what he said, right? One of the biggest secret about traffic, and what the biggest misconception is, that people think that traffic has to be created, right? People think that traffic has to be created. The truth is, traffic already exists. Your goal is to find out where these people are hanging out, right? You got to find out where your target market is congregating, and you got to ask yourself, how can you intercept the market? And the beauty about Facebook groups is that essentially, if you join a fitness group, then everybody in that fitness group, likely like 89%, they're interested in fitness stuff, right? So that's where you can find your target market, find out where they're hanging out. And again, I'm not saying that, you go in and pitch everybody and you go and steal leads, right? But go in, add value, find your voice, and from there, you build your audience as well. And then, people will just naturally reach out. Hey, you shared this post. I really love it. Is there anything else you can help me with X, for example? Yeah, man. So I hope that helps. And that's my favorite way to get started with affiliate marketing with Facebook organic.
I love it, man. It makes it very simple, right? Instead of trying to like find 1,000 ways to fill the product. Because the thing is, a lot of people might be able to sell, but can you really fulfill? Maybe not, right? Especially if you're starting out, you don't want to focus on 10,000 things, right? Maybe the first focus you want to do is, okay, sales and marketing. Let's get good at it, right? If next time I can do products, yeah, that's fine. But let's focus on that first, and then I can affiliate and leverage off maybe some of these guys as well, like Russell Brunson, like you mentioned. So, and then the other thing, I think what you say is about finding traffic, right? It's not about creating new ones, about like find where they hang out, right? And then just add value to them. It's also used as a research strategy for you, right? And then you can also hang out with the people and speak to them and potentially get sales at the same time. So I definitely love that. So with that in mind, right? So I'm sure like right now you have probably talked to a lot of people who has been starting on the affiliate marketing space in terms of students, right? Participants in programs and workshops, right? So I guess from your personal observations, right, Joshua, like out of the different, like do you think are some of the difference in characteristics and observations, right, of some of the students or the affiliate marketers that achieve way faster, way bigger, way better results than some who are still maybe stuck or still not at a space of where they were like? What do you think are some of the differences from your personal observations and experiences?
100%, bro. I think that's a great question, right? So I think one of the biggest factors is, especially right now if you're in the researching phase, is that we are in most people get stuck in the getting ready to get ready, right? Most people get ready to get ready, and because of that, they don't take action like crazy, right? They consume content more than they create, right? You must always be a producer. And the way about that would be, you just got to be aware about what is your ratio, right? What is your consumption to application ratio? And once you're kind of aware about this, is that, hey, you got to tell yourself, I'm watching too much stuff, I need to implement, right? And that's where the importance of publishing comes, right? Whether you are publishing on YouTube, whether you're publishing on TikTok, whether you're publishing on Facebook, but it's so important to publish consistently, so that people can see you, people can see your voice, people can see your message, and essentially it's training ground, right? And you might think that, hey, I got no following, right? Like, even I post, nobody like, right? And that's the best time for you to mess up, right? Because you're still finding a voice, and that's the best time for you to publish, right? So and through time, you will realize, hey, this content, sticks more. Hey, this content, not many people engage more, and through time, you will definitely know, which of the thing your audience resonate more with. So I think the biggest difference from someone who gets massive results in the affiliate marketing game, and of course in anything as well, if you're launching on stuff, would be, take how the degree of action you're taking, right? Whether you're taking small action, you're taking moderate action, or you're taking massive action, right? And definitely going all in, man. Like, definitely going all in. The biggest thing is that people get distracted by so many different things. You understand when you're saying yes to something, you're actually saying no to something else, right? And when you're saying no to something else, you're saying yes to something else, right? So sometimes, it's about asking yourself, how can you set yourself up for success? And when you see shiny objects, then you just gotta say no, right? Even though how shiny it seems. And one thing, one of my other mentors as well, is that, how do you know one thing is a shiny object or not, or how do you know whether you should jump on it or not, right? So I think you gotta know what is your end goal and your end vision, and if that thing can help you achieve that, then it's something that you can consider or you can add on, right? And for example, if you invest in any program and you buy a book or when you read something, sometimes you're not in it for the entire thing, right? Maybe you just bought that just to learn that one segment, right? That's completely fine as well, right? So in order to overcome like the shiny object kind of stuff, you got to know what's your purpose, what is your end goal, and then from there ask yourself, can this program help me achieve that? And if so, then then implement.
Yeah, so I think like okay, so I think with what you shared, right? Yes, I mean, consistently publishing is good, right? Taking massive action is good, right? But I think it also boils down to the intention of investing in the program or reading the book, right? I think that's where some people get it wrong because a lot of people they sign up for the programs, right? But they're not exactly prepared for what to prepare for. What exactly do they want out of it? And that's why a lot of them might be wasting time, effort, and might be unclear, and that creates a lot of inaction, right? So I love what you shared about like knowing what's your purpose, your vision, right? To get to the things you want, right? So I guess in terms of a bit more just to go a little bit more detail, just for the fun of it, right? So like for example, when you say like to publish consistently for yourself for in terms of your habits or how you go about doing it, right? Do you, for example, like how will you recommend for the everyday new marketer or affiliate marketer or business entrepreneur, right, to publish? Like do you ask them, have them to like post like a long post every single day, right? Just a photo, right? Or for example, to batch their content for the first day of the month, right? Like what do you think are some implementable tips you will recommend for the new entrepreneur or the person who want to publish, right, to make sure they can do it on a consistent basis?
Got it. That's a good question, Mark. It really depends on which platform you're targeting. If you're doing YouTube, then 3 videos a week it's decent. 2 videos a week is decent. If you want one video, then make sure it's a high quality video, right? So again, it really depends on which platform. For example, TikTok. I'm not doing TikTok, right? But TikTok is like just 15 seconds. You can like do
Yeah.
3 videos a day, right? So I think it's about setting aside like blocking your time out, right? Like for you, like every Wednesday is your fulfillment day, right? So decide one day of the week to be your content day, and then just segment out and block out the time and just commit to batch producing content, right? So of course, definitely weekly is ideal, and you can do monthly as well. But yeah, so definitely weekly. I think weekly is the best way, and then from there you batch content as well. And you gotta understand sometimes it's fine as well, right? Let's say if one day you don't make a post, yeah, it's completely fine, right? But make sure you still continue and just keep it running. And you might be thinking and you might be asking yourself, right, what kind of content that you should post, right? And here's the content strategy that you should implement, right? So wherever you are, you gotta understand that there's always two realities, right?
Yeah.
People, one is where they are right now, and two is where they want to be, right? What do they see themselves? What is the vision? What is the problem they help them overcome? What is the ideal goal? What is the thing that you help them achieve, right? And along that path from where they are right now to where they want to be, there are many different obstacles and there are many different pillars, right? There are many different false beliefs that they need to break down. So you gotta ask yourself, what are these false beliefs? What are these different things that they need to believe or they need to understand for them to achieve their end goal? And based on that, you work backwards, and that's how you come up with your content strategy, right? So for example, you probably, like for you, right, you talk about how implementing, right, master implementer, right? So what are different reasons people don't implement, right? One could be, maybe what, like shiny object syndrome, right? You just jump to so many different things you don't implement, right? Another thing could be, like I think one huge thing in this space, especially if like you're in the coaching industry, would be the fear of you not being good enough, right? The
Yeah.
imposter syndrome, right? That itself will cripple people as well.
Yeah.
So, and you know that these are the thoughts in people's minds. So
Yeah.
you go ahead and create content around this, around these things, around these topics, and people like, hey, that resonates to me, right? So your content should not only build the know, like, and trust factor, but it should build up the factor where people resonate with you, right? So know, like, and trust and resonate with your message. And that's essentially how you find your audience.
Oh, I love it. So I think really about like mapping out and understanding what do the people need, right? What their thoughts, right? What their frustrations, what their challenges, right? And then you craft out content based on these things that you have researched about that. So I think that's a very powerful tip. And you do it on a weekly basis. So I think monthly can sometimes be a bit too maybe intimidating for some. So weekly I think is pretty good, right? Just set your time, schedule your time, right? Whether it's one day every week, right? 2 hours, 3 hours, right? Just to come up with all these content ideas and to post it and publish it, right? And then you don't have to worry about it some other day. So I love it. So I guess moving forward, right? I guess so right now at this point of the interview right now is about February 2021, right? So I guess I just want to seek your opinion or your guidance, right? I'm sure you have invested in a lot of good mentors, right? We're masterminded together. I think you are someone who has been killing it in this space and from Singapore, right? So I just want to find out, right? Like in 2021 right now, as of this time of the interview, what are some of the trends, right, or some of the current events or things that you feel that marketers or entrepreneurs should really take note of, right, based on today's world, right? And how like for example, for you personally, like how will you personally craft your marketing strategies or your story or positioning, right, based on whatever is happening today right now? So right now there's like the Wall Street bet saga, right? There's the recent riots, the elections, right? There's a lot of in my opinion, right, I think there's a lot of a dissent, right, from the everyday public, right, against the government. So like in like have you like for example, like to come out with some different new angles or strategies, right, to take advantage of this opportunity? I'm just curious to seek your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so what we call it, and I don't really do it a lot, but what a lot of like people on YouTube do this a lot is what they call like we write the story, right? We write the story. So like for example, GameStop, like all different sagas that's happening
Yeah.
right now. How can you craft that thing to what you have to offer? How can you craft that whatever event to so that people it's basically finding a segue, right? It's all about finding a segue. How can you get people to relate, right?
Yep.
For example, COVID, right? COVID, people lost a lot of jobs, right? But that only proves that that making money, having the skill to make money from home or from anywhere is so essential, right? So
Mm.
it's all about asking yourself, like, the current events right now, and how can you find an angle towards that, right? So I've not, like, again, I've, to be honest, I've not implemented this fully, but for
Yep.
example, my GameStop, right? I think one angle would be like the power of having a community, right? Because like the entire community of people, like, push the stock out like crazy. So and yeah, that's just one example, right? So how can you? It's all about understanding the mechanics behind what happened, the news, for example, and then how can you correlate that to what you have to offer, right? Yeah, but I think that's a really, really huge way for you to, like, email your list, do content out as well. So yeah,
No,
man, that's a good one.
that's great. So I think like being relevant, right, and just leveraging on whatever is going on right now and just pushing it forward, right? Which is why I guess the weekly batching might be better. Because monthly might not catch some news that is going on. So I guess before I move on to my last question, right, like I just want to find out a little bit more about like. So let's say when you're starting out, right? You're starting out, right, in the affiliate marketing space, in business and stuff, right? How will you personally choose, or how will you advise the new entrepreneur, the new marketer, right, to find a topic, right, or a space or a business idea that he or she will be passionate or interested in? Because what happens is when you try to get an affiliate marketing space, there's 1,000 different things you can do, right, to affiliate and stuff like. So what one or two things you would advise somebody new, right, to find an idea or a topic that they would actually kind of like to do, right, while earning some good money at the same time?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. And there's no one specific formula to this, right? So a couple of different models, you would say. One of them would be one of them could be your own story, right? Say for example, if you are maybe you're a mom, and you've always struggled with your weight, and then finally, you're consistent in managing your diet, consistent in managing your weight, and then suddenly you lost weight, right? So that story of yours essentially could be your product as well, right?
Hmm.
So the first model would be look back on the different struggles that you have, and what you overcame, and and a couple of things, what are your things that your friends pointed out that you were good at, right?
Yep.
And that itself could be a business model as well, right? That itself could be, you could even affiliate for that as well, right? Hey, you went through this program and now it's good, and then now you're just recommending it, right? So the first model would be look back on your past experiences, your past challenges, and the things that you overcame, and that itself could be a really business model. So second would be, of course, not necessarily that you have gotten results in, but something, of course, that you're passionate in about. But and that's the thing about people chasing their passions, right? It number one, passion is important, but number two, it has to be profitable as well, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're not getting like compensated for what you put out to the marketplace, then you're just gonna get burnt out, right? You're just
Yeah.
gonna get burnt out because you don't see any use of it, right? So you gotta ask yourself, whatever you're passionate in, and how can you turn a business around that? Of course, right? Affiliate marketing is another model that you can
Yep.
apply. Coming out with your own coaching programs of what you're passionate about, right? So it doesn't have to be a trial, or it doesn't have to be an error that you overcame, but something that you're passionate in about, right? For example, if you're really, really good at drawing art, that could be a hidden talent, right? And then you could start an art class as well, right? And you might think that, hey, I'm not an expert to start my own thing, right? You got to understand that it only takes you to be one chapter ahead in the book to be able to teach someone else, right? It only takes you to be one chapter in the book ahead to teach someone else. The one of the famous movies, Catch Me If You Can, right?
Yeah.
Catch Me Yeah. So the actor as well, yeah, said, how he taught the entire class would be he's just one chapter ahead of the book, right? And of course, if you're just starting out, then yeah, you can either charge really cheap or just do it for free, right? Just charge for free or just do it for free. But ultimately, you just say, hey, this is my first time running my painting class. My usual price, or what I'm going to be pricing it in the future probably is $299. But for this time only, since you're my first batch, I'm willing to give you a $97. But for one condition, you're gonna be willing to give me a testimonial, right? So yeah, like people will be more than willing to to just pay that and understand that, and you're not being fake, right? You're being completely honest that, hey, it's my first time doing it, I'm new, so people understand there are definitely going to be hiccups, but they're more than willing to pay a discounted price, but at the same time give you a testimonial, man. So I think ultimately is and I think this is huge, right? And I've not thought about this until now that you asked me this question, but I think what's huge would be um you gotta ask yourself, which marketplace do you think you can add value in, right? I think this is so huge, right? Because and I think that's the key to it, bro. I think that's the key to it. Asking yourself which marketplace can you add value, because the truth is, your income will be directly proportional to how much value you can add to the marketplace, right? And the famous Zig Ziglar, you can have anything in life that you want if you help other people get what they want, right? So if you know about, if you know how, what can you specifically help people with, where can you add value into the marketplace with, who do you help and what, who do you help and what is the result that you help them generate, right? So your who and the what you help them generate, and then from that itself, that itself could be turned into a business model, right? Like people call it like the knowledge business. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think what I love is that you don't just try to find it from like internet or research. You first find out about from yourself, and then right, it's not like you immediately go and charge like 3,000, 6,000, right? Because you're unsure whether can you even like fulfill to that level, right? So what you do is charge it lower, right? Get some success stories, right? Build it up, right? Before, right, you try to go crazy and go to like maybe charge in a much higher pricing. So I think it's a very systematic way to actually grow your affiliate marketing business or whatever business you want, right? To actually grow it to be a more sustainable thing for the long run, right? So thanks so much there for Joshua. So I guess with my last question, right, I think you probably find it familiar, right, because you're in the Click Founders community and stuff, right? So I guess for you, like bro, like if you had, let's say you had to restart everything, right? You had to restart everything, right? Like all the money, all the all the following you had, right? It's all restarted and go back from day one, right? So what will you do in the first 30 days, right, to not only get back to where you are today, right, but actually go and bounce back and beyond? What are some of the implementable, actionable steps you would do, right, to actually get back to the space to where you are today, right? Just for the benefit of people who are just starting out completely from scratch.
I think a couple of things, right? Number one would be, of course, you gotta first decide which business model you're in, right? Because 1,000 different things. But I think the number one key thing, which again paralyzes people from taking action, like your movement, would be, just having too many things, right? So deciding on that, what is that one thing, that one business model you're gonna be focusing on first. And then second would be definitely finding a mentor. Right? Finding a mentor would definitely, help you so much with your success, because the truth is, these people have already done what is it they want to do, and being able to shorten the learning gap, right? So essentially, the one resource that all of us have that can't be renewed is the most precious resource is your time, right? Because that's something that you can't get back, right? Once you spend it, it's gone. But the beauty about mentorship is essentially you're buying yourself time, right? You're buying yourself the learning curve, and you're just expediting the process, right? So finding out who is the person that you think that they might be a good fit to mentor you, I think that's the really, really critical step, right? And of course, if you would say that you don't have the budget, it could be two things, right? Number one, it could be you really, really don't have the budget, or you're just not willing to spend. Right? You understand it's all an investment to yourself, because ultimately you gotta ask yourself how much is your time worth, and if that mentorship can help you cut that learning curve, then it's definitely worth it. But of course, if money is something that's a bit hard on your end, because I understand, right? And then you gotta ask yourself, how can you like indirectly learn from them, right? So buy their programs, get their books, and just learn how they do it, like from the outsides, and try to get from the outside in as far as you can, right? Of course, you won't get that much exclusivity as compared to mentorship, right? So so deciding on number one, deciding on what is it, which path you to take. Number two is finding the mentor, and I think number three would be publishing. I think it really depends on which niche you're in, but again, if you're in the coaching and consulting space, then definitely publishing and putting content out and essentially adding value, bro. Adding value, right? So I think these three things are really important. Number one would be, how can you add value to the marketplace, right?
Yep.
Number two would be how can you create assets, right? Assets. So for example, your email list, your email list, your YouTube subscribers, etc. Right? How can you build up your assets? How can you build up a community, right? And I think number three would be making offers, right? I think far too many people in this space, especially if you get started, they're kind of afraid to ask for the sale, right? They're afraid to ask money. So
Yeah.
you got to be comfortable in asking people for the sale. You got to be comfortable with people say, hey, do you mind if I send you the link to check it out, right? And again, you come from a place of serving people, right? Yeah. So, dude, like I came out with this like I think I should answer this first, right? But anyway, I came out with this like a 5-step framework, right? I've been thinking really, really long on how can I craft the name to it, but I finally came out with a nice name to it, right? I call it the 5-step magic framework, right? Magic. So first M is mindset, right? You gotta have that mindset going in.
Yep.
A is audience building, right? So MA, magic mindset, right? So AMAG, right? G is you give, right? You add value to the marketplace, you put content out, right? I is you put out an irresistible offer, right? You put out an offer in the marketplace and you must be willing to ask for a sale. And C of the magic, the last C, the fifth step is close, right? Closing the sale. Because ultimately, if you can't close the sale, then you're just letting money off the table, right? So these 5 steps, right? So mindset, audience building, give, irresistible offer, and close, right? So that's the thing I would do if I were to start over again. On top of that, taking action like crazy and finding a mentor, man.
Yeah, but I think thanks so much. I think one thing you've talked about finding a mentor, right? I think like we both have mentors of our own. I think and that really accelerated the process, right? Because that makes things a lot smoother, right? Accelerates the path, right? I think that's something that I think most people, if they would really benefit from it one way or another, whether it's indirect, direct, right, could really help their path so much more, right? And create so many more success stories. I definitely love it. So with that, right, Joshua, thanks so much for coming on the interview. I love what you shared. I think a lot of actionable tips. I think you gave so much, right? I that's the kind of style I like. So like, how can my audience find you, right? Let's share a little bit about where they can find you, media channels, and how. Yeah. So any last words for my audience right here?
Yeah, man. I think the last words would be opportunities don't happen, you create them. And ultimately, you must be willing to, understand that the magic and what you want is always outside the comfort zone, right? Nothing gets achieved, if like Einstein said, right? The definition of insanity, if you do the things over and over again and expect different results, right? So you gotta first understand that and then just take massive action, man. That's my final words to you guys. If you guys found value from this, not only just take notes, but I think your commitment to yourself and to Mark and to me would be to take action, right? Whichever field that you're in. Yeah, man, that's my final words. So people can find me on Facebook. You can find me out on Facebook. Yeah, maybe if this is a podcast, you can drop my links over there,
Yeah,
my Facebook group, and my YouTube channel as well.
Okay, great. I think with that, thank you so much, Joshua, for your time. I think this was a good, effective interview. I think there's a lot of actionable tips that people can use, right? And really, like what Joshua said, that we got to take action. Don't just take notes, right? Notes is one thing, but you got to translate them into effective and consistent action, right? With that, I'll see you guys on the next edition of the Master Mentor interview. And thanks so much, Joshua. Again, I'll see you guys very soon. Bye, bye, everyone.